You know, the other day I was going through a manga that just changed the whole mood of mine. I was feeling kind of bit edgy, angry, such kind of feelings. And then I just decided to read this manga. It had picked up my interest and I had ignored it for a while. Then I just decided to read it. And it just changed. It shifted my whole mood. For that moment, I read it. And it just hooked me in. I think I was reading it for something like 1 to 2 hours, something like that. And I was angry at first before I started reading it. And when I just started reading it, my mood shifted to being jovial, kind of curious to figure out what is going to happen next. And that is prison school for me. Puts you on a different mood. It puts you on the edge of your seat. Like you want to know what is happening next. Anyway, so this is what I love about this manga. It reminds me a little bit of my freshman year into high school. It had its up and downs, but majorly it was fun. You could not predict what is going to happen next because it had a lot of joys in it. And this is what I mostly related to the manga because it reminded me of when that period I was in freshman year before it all got serious, focused on studies. We were fun, and that is something that I relate with this manga because it touches mostly on the subjects of sadism, mischief, such kind of genres. There's a flow, but there's no predictability. You can't predict what's going to happen next. There's coherence, but coherence it's a little bit jumbly. You can't predict what's going to happen next. So Kyosho Dono, the main character, gets admitted into an all-girls high school and is very jubilant and happy to join the school. When he joins the school, he finds himself with other 4 boys, and the boys click immediately. They have the same interests, desires, and I think they are a little bit geeky. And in the school, the ratio of girls to boys is high, like it is damning. So like I can say we take 30 girls to 1. That is the ratio because in the class that the main character he is in, he's the only boy. Like you can imagine that. The ratio is crazy. So they immediately click and they develop these habits and tendency. They want to interact with girls but they don't know how to do so. And whenever they do so, they attempt to talk to a girl. It is not reciprocated and they feel like, this is awkward. What is happening? So they get into a lot of trouble when they try to force their hand by infiltrating a girl's locker room and bathroom. That is when they are busted and they are hanged up and they are punished for infiltrating the girl's locker room. This is where we get introduced to the Shadow Council. The Shadow Council rule the school in the shadows, like underneath the governing system of the school. There's the official student council, but it is dormant. But the active governing system in the school is through the shadow student council is the one governing the school, and they have set out rules that are not to be broken. For instance, it is illegal for a boy and a girl to talk to each other. Even though they coexist in the school, they are not allowed to interact with each other. If either of the boys or girls interact or break this rule, they are punished for it. And so let's get sentenced to the jail, and they are supposed to do a lot of tasks, chores within the school parameter, like cleaning, sweeping, such kind of punishments. And this is where it gets interesting. Like basically I think boys will be boys even if they're in prison or wherever they are, they'll just be boys. And this is something that is very interesting to me, and I relate it mostly to when I was in high school. And this is what is replicated in the manga. The guys, this is where when they are doing this kind of punishment, they are I think they are punished by the vice president, like there are such kind of beatings, and those guys fancy those beatings because they feel like they're getting touched by a girl because this is something new to them. And so when he is in the jail, he thinks of how he's going to do a prison break, something like that, something mischievous like that, and how he is going to escape out of the jail. And this is where we begin to see the comradeship, the unity, the comradeship between the boys. How the other boys perceive them, the brilliance of boys, the mentality of boys is just mischief. So this is basically the behavior, the mindset of boys. They think about girls mostly. If you're not thinking about girls, then something is very wrong. So especially if you're a teenager, So these guys just think about boys, the other gender, think about girls. And they have this love interest, because if you do not have this, it's very weird. So they have all these interests. They have, one is a nerd, one is fascinated with ants, the other one is fascinated with, is it called a masochism? Such is a kind of a masochism. And the other one is a kind of a delinquent, So they're all kind of a bit nerd, and they have never experienced girl. So in the prison setup, it is in a way set up in a design to control the way you think, the way you relate, and the way you behave. The prison schools setup, the way they guard you, the way they punish you, it is meant to reduce your expectations, not to reduce your expectations, but to change your behavior to be a little bit docile, to be submissive, so that you can fit in the school system. Because the school president, I think, she's a typical feminist. This is in a way to hinder the advancement of the boys in the school, because they are a threat to the civilization, the freedom, and the brilliance of the girls in the school. But there are other girls who do not believe in the same ideologies the Shadow Student Council believes so. And this is something that we come to see later on in the series, when the official Student Council overtakes the Shadow Council with the help of the boys. And it goes into a fiasco whereby the tables are turned every time. But what is consistent throughout is the ideology of the boys, because the boys had this mindset: when they join the school, they will be going after girls. Like, they will take an adventure into the discovery of what schools of girls is. They just test out the quirks, the adventures, something like that. So the boys are very, very mischievous. They take a lot of toll and different routes into achieving their objectives, and they cannot be contained by whatever notions the girls have, the ideological beliefs the girls have. And I think even so, the boys are their own victims of failures. They become victims of their actions throughout the series, because the kind of predicament they land in because of their actions. And even though the girls try to curtail their movement, their mobility, the boys eventually overcome them. And that's something that is very interesting about this manga. We can see that principal of the school is a male, is a man. And even though he's a man, he attempts to, but he's also quirky. He has his own interests. Anyway, and something else that I really love about this manga is how they explore the themes of discovery, especially in your teenage years. There's a lot of things you try to discover, and the way they explore it is very, very youthful and interesting, because they do not do it in the old-fashioned way. I think it's done in a very peculiar and funny way. Very, very fun. For instance, like how to kiss a girl. How do you partake in such? And the way they describe it, you take a bottle and put it up. Something like that. Like the way they explore that theme is very different. It's unique, actually. That take is very unique. The way they touch lightly on those subjects. They did not go deep, just touch it a little bit. Other than that, if you really fancy this kind of manga, tell me down in the comments. Or even better, you can consider subscribing. Peace out.